Hello everyone, my name is Cole. So what I want to tell you a little bit about today is kind of, uh, it's sort of an interesting topic, and it took me a long time to understand this topic, which is this idea. So those of you who've explored, let's say, Mantak Chia's work, Mantak Chia has this, one of his practices, I believe he calls like perineal power or something like that. In his descriptions of how to use the perineum in order to direct around energy, I remember when I first did it, I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I tried doing things, and I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And the reality is that I simply just wasn't there. I wasn't sensitive enough to understand. I guess also I didn't understand the esoteric aspects of that part of my anatomy, the perineum. So the perineum has it's a tremendous place of power. Oftentimes, I believe like the astral plane is often related to the root chakra. Those of you who are watching this, you can go ahead and correct me if I'm wrong on this. But so the root is the furthest place from here, right? So that journey, in order to connect to the root, it's arduous, can be, and it can be quite difficult and challenging. And also it can be kind of scary. Why? Because the root is where a lot of the sort of, I guess a lot of our sort of survival issues may lie. The sort of existential issues we have, fear and terror and insecurities and all that sort of thing. So, but on that journey downward towards the root, essentially we go deeper and deeper and deeper and connect on a deeper and deeper way to our subconscious. And during this process, the subconscious starts to release. And so as we're releasing the subconscious, and this is one of the reasons why meditation is so incredibly important, but as the subconscious is releasing pattern, and what is pattern? What am I talking about? Well, pattern can be karmic, the past, or our fixations that are driven by insecurities or desires about the future. The reality is that we tend to prefer the future tense stuff. Oh, I'm positive and I'm future thinking. You're not present. Okay, so don't exalt the positive or the negative. The reality is that both of them take you out of the present moment. Okay, so the whole idea with all the Taoist practices in yoga and meditation and Tai Chi and Qigong, the idea is to ground the energies in the body. It's about bringing about a yoking or a merger of the mind with the body. And ultimately, again, connecting with the soul, which is then connected and merged with the bigger picture, spirit, creation, universe. I think you get the point. So the perineum. The perineum is a very loaded, intense place. In my mind's eye, when I place my awareness down there, I see light. I see a lot of light. And I also see how it goes beneath the perineum, it goes down, right? So there's an energy that anchors us down into the earth plane there. And so someone says, oh, you go into the astral there or the lower dimensions. Lower or higher, again, let's not apply a judgment. If you experience, let's say, weird lower astral entities, does that mean you're a bad person or a person who's got demonic intentions? No, not necessarily. It simply means you're meant to experience those things. Now, if you experience angels and love and light and all this stuff, well, that means you're meant to experience those things. We're all acting as human filters here. So now the question is, how can we use the power, the energy of the perineum in order to bring about this evolution? And the evolution, once again, is to pull the mind into the body, to center the individual. Because within this centering process lies your purpose. What is your purpose? Well, some people think it's your career. Some people think purpose is, let's say, having kids. Some people think your purpose is, I work at a homeless shelter and I give out food. And again, the purpose is, so when someone says I'm here to help people find their purpose, oftentimes, again, it's like a career coach or a life coach or something like that. And again, they're usually focused in on what you're doing in terms of your energy in action. Purpose, as I'm going to explain it, is only about frequency. From point A to point B, from birth to death. You have a frequency, and it's about elevating that frequency so that you get to the moment of death, you're resonating at a higher frequency than what you did when you came into the situation, right? Because when you came into the situation at point A, at birth, you had karmas to work through, and that's what life was about. It's about working through those karmas. And yes, sometimes you have to have children in order to bring about the manifestation of those karmas so that you can witness them and be objective with them and work through it to confront those challenges. And sometimes it's through your career path, and sometimes it's through volunteer work, and sometimes it's, anyway, it could be a number of things. But purpose overall is about frequency. If you choose the right things, if you raise your children right, ultimately what comes to you is love and joy. So love and joy is what ultimately augments your vibration. So, and again, like purpose, oftentimes, I got into the discussion with a friend recently, this idea of purpose also has nothing to do with, I guess, like spirituality necessarily. Like oftentimes, again, like a lot of the people I know who are very aligned with their purpose, and they're actually aligned with their soul, but they don't use that word. They're not spiritual people even remotely. They just know what makes them feel good. And if they're feeling good, if they feel good about their actions, that they feel unconflicted about their actions, then the end result is that they're aligned with their purpose. So they're increasing their frequency, but they're not thinking about that. So again, it's the idea that purpose is something spiritual. Again, you can dismiss that idea as well. So going back to the perineum. So the perineum is incredibly powerful because, once again, it is so far from here. It is so far from the center, the seat of our awareness. In terms of our sort of conditioned awareness, I'll say. Our center of gravity, which actually should be down here at the navel, right? So this is the actual body's center of gravity. And so when our awareness is down here in the belly, connected to our will and our expression, then essentially our center of gravity will eventually shift down, and it also calms and soothes the mind. There'll be less motion of the diaphragm and hence less motion of the mind. So the idea of one of the things you can do with the perineum, as described by Mantak Chia, and now as I'm now going to describe it, is it's a process of sensitizing the body. And it's going to sensitize you to the things that the perineum brings, which is the unearthing of insecurities, the unearthing of your fears, your terrors, all those sorts of things, so that you can be objective with them, but also the movement of heat, the movement of energy, right? Because there's a big thrust that rises up. The Kundalini, and again, this is debatable. I don't know if this is true or not true, but the seat of Kundalini energy supposedly is different in women than men. I've heard that Kundalini for women, it lies in the heart center because it has to lie where the positive polarity is. Whereas for men, it's located closer to the sacral, around the sacral area. Again, I don't know, but from how I'm going to describe it is that, again, yes, a woman's positive pole is at the heart and a man's positive pole is down around the sacral. But dismissing that idea and just kind of going into the idea that there is some latent energy that lies coiled up at the base of the spine. We can call it Kundalini or whatever. So as you're reaching down into the body, what it does is it applies a heat or a pressure of your awareness. And so when you're able to access the perineum through a gentle contraction, it starts to suture the mind with the body. Very powerful. And this is another thing about moving around sexual energy as well, right? Because the sex center is connected to the perineum. You can't contract the anus or the perineum or the genitals in isolation. You can try, but most likely it's going to contract because all of those muscles down there are intertwined. So this is a sexual transmutation practice ultimately, in the sense of, let's say I want to bring energy to my heart center, okay? So one of the things you can do is you take a deep breath in and you go ahead and you lift up the perineum and you divide your awareness between that contraction at the perineum and your awareness at the heart center. Like I'm doing that right now, and I can feel like an increase of like energy or heat there, okay? So because energy flows to where the attention goes. Basic principles here, keep it very, very basic. So in other words, you can literally move around your sexual energy anywhere inside your body. Anywhere inside your body. You can use the energy of the perineum, again, because again, when I'm saying the energy of the perineum, it's also, again, it's connected to all the base energies in general. So the energy of the perineum, you can shoot it up to the back of your head, the medulla. You can shoot it up to your third eye point. You can shoot it up to your belly. You can store it in the solar plexus. You can do all sorts of things with this energy. You can use it to vitalize your body. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to go through just a really brief, quick practice here. So the practice, the perineal practice is, anyway, I'll walk you through it. So first thing you want to do is you want to find a nice upright spine. So go ahead and push your perineum down towards the earth. So again, what that'll do is that'll adjust the lower portion of the spine. The next thing is you want to line the crown. So the crown, if I put my awareness above my head, I can kind of perceive a light. So I have to tuck my chin a little bit, which elongates the neck, and the crown being at the back side of the head. I guess another word for the crown is the bindu. And you're going to align the crown with whatever you perceive above the head. And that helps adjust the base, the spine, the base of the ribs on up. Third step, going into the sensitive place. So going into a sensitive place in a sensitive space, one of the best ways to do this is to create an inner smile. When you create an inner smile, there's pressure points right here, which will help illuminate or create the perception of an internal light. So when you inner smile, you will create the perception of internal light. So, but most of the time when you smile, because our awareness is generally projected forward, when you smile, you're going to perceive the light more in the front side of the face. Now, what I want you to do for this exercise is to smile at the back of your throat. So you can go ahead and close your eyes and smile at the back of your throat. Once again, that simply means when I say smile at the back of the throat is you're moving your awareness, your attention to the back of the throat, right? And here you're going to be able to sense the spine more clearly. And as if you can sense the spine more clearly, you're going into your shadow, you're going into the depths. And this is part of the centering process. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do breath of fire for 1 minute. So just 1 minute to saturate with oxygen. So breath of fire is, you can do bellows breath too. What we're doing is we're just simply saturating with oxygen. You can do it through the nose or the mouth. Or, again, it's about saturating with oxygen. So do whatever feels comfortable for you. But bellows breath is rapid diaphragmic breathing. So just in and out really quickly. And then you have breath of fire, which is pulling in the navel point, which is the space just below the navel. Air goes out, relaxing the navel point, air comes in. So it's more of a pumping motion. Either way, you will saturate with oxygen. Hands, palms up if you wish. Put them in Gyan Mudra if you wish. Nice tall spine, smiling at the back of the throat. Let's take a deep breath in. Move the awareness down to the pelvis. Exhale, move the awareness back up the spine, towards the head. And finally, let's go ahead and take a deep breath, a half breath in. And we're going to do breath of fire or a bellows breath. Just about a minute. Keep that spine tall. Good. So let's go ahead and inhale, deep breath. Move the awareness down the spine towards the pelvic floor. Good. So connecting with the perineum. So what we're going to do is let's go ahead and we're going to direct the energy, meaning picking up the perineum and splitting your awareness between the space inside the belly, just above the perineum, below the navel area. So the navel point, or I guess you call it the lower dantian if you wish. So keeping that breath held in, lift the perineum, place your awareness at that space below the navel, inside the body. You can see my body starts to rock. There's a pulse you might feel there. You might feel heat. You might feel a tingle. Go ahead and exhale all the air out. Keep your awareness at the space below the navel. So when you exhale, it's like you're concentrating the energy there, right? So you're using the perineum to create a pressure upward. In that pressure upward, you're going to place your awareness at that point where you're going to deposit the energy. You're going to exhale and contract and condense that energy there deeper. All right, so let's try another point. Let's try the point opposite the heart center. So opposite the center, so the space right between your shoulder blades. And again, this is kind of a numb place for a lot of people. For me, one of the ways I brought sensitivity to that place was doing this practice. I started to feel the fascia actually start to disconnect, and it was like it was melting. It took time, right? So it didn't happen right away. It took time, but repeated practice, also consciously relaxing the shoulder blades helped as well. So let's go ahead and take a deep breath in. Move that awareness again down into the pelvic floor. Relax the perineum. Now go ahead and gently lift the perineum, which means you're also gently contracting the genitals and the anus. Place your awareness at the space between the shoulder blades. Relax your shoulder blades. And then exhale. Concentrate your awareness at the space between the shoulder blades like you're concentrating a little white or yellow light. Keep those shoulder blades relaxed. Good. Go ahead, inhale, relax the perineum, relax your entire body. And then exhale. All right, so we're not going to go through, there are so many different points you can do this with. You got your armpits, you can shoot the energy down to your feet, you can shoot it up into your head. Again, you can send this energy anywhere. And this is one of the ways you vitalize the body, and you get that energy kind of moving. And again, you can also use this as a sexual transmutation practice. If you're going to use it as a sexual transmutation practice, you want to connect to the sexy feeling while you're doing this. So the sexy feeling comes up, then you lift your perineum, then you direct the energy. Like right now, I'm directing it towards my left armpit, and there's kind of a pulsing going on there. Very interesting. So anyway, the point is that this is one way you can kind of distribute energy around the body, and it is very effective. And it's a lovely practice that will ultimately suture your mind with your body, bring you into that yoking, that union. That is the point in a lot of ways. So with all that said, if you're a man and you're in need of guidance, coaching regarding your sexual energy, it's out of control, you feel a slave to it, you feel manipulated by it, you're in control, you're stuck in lust. Well, one of the things is I have a coaching program. You can check out my website, which is posted down below the video. And in this program, you will learn to differentiate between presence, consciousness, love, and lust, and how that impacts your orgasms, how that affects your relationships, how that affects your relationship with yourself, and how ultimately you can look at lust as a tool as opposed to something that is running you. So you don't let the screwdriver rule your life, do you? So anyway, I appreciate you watching the video. Thank you.